Bro, let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly alive in your business and your life instead of just surviving another day? You've been actually told that in order to succeed, you have to work harder than everyone else. You have to sacrifice sleep. You have to sacrifice your body. You have to sacrifice relationships. You have to skip vacation. You have to hustle and you have to do it all the time. But then you hear about intentional living, this idea that slowing down and making deliberate choices actually leads to better results. Now, according to a Microsoft 2023 Work Trend Index, 68% of business leaders report feeling exhausted trying to keep up with this idea of hustle culture. But here's what's more fascinating. A Harvard Business Review study found that executives who practiced intentional living, including regular breaks and focused work periods, made decisions that turned out to be 28% more profitable. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was pushing myself to my limit, my ability to make profitable decisions that would better my life and those around me went down. But I also understood the importance of working hard because let's face it, we love to achieve, and I love the feeling of being able to earn the things that I put my effort in. Then I discovered something pretty magical that I'm about to share with you that puts it all to rest. So let's settle this debate once and for all. Does hustle guarantee success or is there a smarter way? Today, I'm breaking down hustle culture versus intentional living to see which one has actually worked in my life and what could work for you and what's best for long-term success. Now, let's talk about hustle culture. I mean, you know the mantras: rise and grind, sleep is for the weak, 24/7, 365. There's something a little seductive about hustle culture, right? Like this idea that the harder you work, the more you'll achieve. You have to remember the idea of hustle culture is built on this one singular idea. If you work harder than everyone else, you're going to win. So no excuses, no days off. The grind never stops. And it's true. Some of the biggest names out there, from Elon Musk to The Rock, they credit their success to relentless hustle. But here's the part that most people don't even talk about. Sure, hustle culture might give you a short term boost, but it's unsustainable. Studies link overworking to decrease decision making quality and creativity. And according to Stanford's work productivity study, that's 72% of entrepreneurs. But here's what that same study revealed. After 50 hours of work per week, productivity drops so dramatically that working more hours actually produces negative return. Think about that for a second. Like you're not even just running in place, you're actually moving backwards. And I remember when I first had my daughter and I was still trying to work myself to the bone, I could see that my ability to make decisions and the things that I was doing weren't actually even helping me. They were making things worse. This doesn't mean that hustle culture doesn't work. The real question that you should be asking yourself is, who is hustle culture really for? If you're just starting out on your journey and you need some real momentum, sure, short bursts of hustle can actually really help you. But if you're playing the long game, hustling without a plan is just glorified exhaustion. So if grinding 24/7 isn't the answer, which I imagine for many of you is not, we can agree with this, then what's the alternative? See, this is where intentional living comes into play. Now, let me show you something that changed everything for me. A long time ago, I was having a hard time processing all the stress and all the things that I was going through and managing my life as a husband, as a father, as a businessman. And I created what's now called the Power Up Journal, which allows me to process everything I'm experiencing and drilling everything down into a singular focus of application. Now, what's cool about this is, according to research from Microsoft's Productivity Lab, focused work in 90-minute cycles is more effective than 12-hour grinding sessions. And what I learned from processing all of the things that I was figuring out was if I could focus my time in short bursts, I was able to do more for myself in those 90 minutes than I could have done in the 8 hours I was trying to do previously. Now I get it. Like, intentional living feels really scary to a lot of people, maybe even you, because sometimes it feels like you're not doing enough, right? It almost feels like, in comparison to hustle culture, you're just kind of sitting down and sitting around and not really moving anything forward. But what if that very thing, the idea of slowing down, actually sped up your results. So instead of reacting to everything, you can learn to prioritize. Let me prove it to you. Over the last year, I helped one of my clients, Matt, implement this system of intentional living and creating some type of hybrid structure with a little bit of short bursts of hustle. And here's what the results. His income went up 30%. His work hours went down 20%. He also lost 15 pounds. And here's the kicker. His health and his relationship with his kids and his wife dramatically improved. And it doesn't stop there. You can look at various examples of how high achievers use intentional living as a means for great performance, even if it seems kind of strange. For example, Jeff Weiner, the former CEO of LinkedIn, schedules 2 hours of think time, which he credits for his company's massive growth. Steve Jobs wore the same outfit every single day just so he can reduce his decision making abilities and reduce decision fatigue. Warren Buffett spends 80% of his time reading and thinking, not grinding mindlessly. Think of intentional living as like a GPS for your life. Like, sure, you could drive around aimlessly, but wouldn't it be better just to follow a map? So the question then becomes, who would intentional living work for? Now, if you're a business owner, a leader, or creator, you need clarity, not just effort. It's not just about execution, it's about vision. Now, if you've been working hard and not seeing results, then perhaps it's time to start working smarter, not just harder. And this may just be the path for you. But here's the real secret. Hustle culture versus intentional living, this is a false choice. The best high achievers, they actually do both, but they do it at the right time. You don't have to choose one or the other. You can have the best of both worlds. Here's what the research actually shows. Microsoft found that 2 to 3 hours of focused work produces better results than 8 hours of multitasking. Now, this works great when you're launching something new, breaking into a new industry, or you're making a big push in your career, your business, or any other part of your life. McKinsey studies of top performers show that they take breaks every 90 minutes or so. Now, this works best when you're trying to scale your efforts, you're trying to lead, or you're making high impact decisions in your life. And then Harvard Business Review found that executives who spend 10 minutes planning save 2 hours of execution time. Now, this one personally resonates with me because I've noticed when I spend 1% of my day, which is 15 minutes, planning and preparing for the day that I'm about to have, my efficiency and productivity has dramatically shifted and grown. Now, of course, there's going to be some days where I'm working late, but I'm noticing that most days I'm actually able to get all the work that I need to get done in that time. And then as that time actually goes out, instead of doing a week's worth of time in 1 week, I'm actually able to do a week's worth in 3 to 4 days. So I've learned that like with this particular strategy, you'll be more like a sprinter and a marathon runner. You'll know when to sprint when it's time, but you'll also know when to pace yourself. But here's the $1 million question that I'm thinking you're wanting to know. Will this lead me to work-life balance? No. And that's because work-life balance is a total scam and doesn't exist. You see, hustle culture and intentional living, there aren't enemies. They're tools. It's how you use them that make the difference. So if you're asking yourself which one wins, hustle culture or intentional living, the truth is success, real sustainable success comes from using both at the right time. And it's not about choosing between hustle and intention. It's about knowing when to use each one. And if you really want to keep it simple, the best way to explain it is to use a version of the Pareto principle. According to research from the University of California, use hustle mode for launching and getting your efforts going, which is about 20% of your time. And then use intentional mode for growing and developing, which is 80% of your time. So you literally can have a hustle mode and an intentional mode that you can dial between each one at any given moment. I don't know about you, but I thought that was pretty cool. Here's what I want you to do the next chance you get. Take out your phone, set a timer for 90 minutes, and focus on your most important task. And then when you're done, take a real break, one that's at least 15 minutes. And here's my promise. You start to do this for 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, you're going to see more results than any amount of long extended period of endless grinding. I want to hear from you. Are you team hustle, grinding it out every day? Or are you more team intentional, focusing on high impact work? Now we know that hustle culture may drive short term results, but intentional living creates lasting impact. So which one wins for you? Comment below. And if you're stuck in hustle mode, maybe this video is your sign to take a little bit of a break, maybe a little bit of a breather. And remember, success isn't about working yourself to death. It's about working right. Let this be your moment. Step up, take action, and become iconic. I'll see you in the next video.